New Zealand, very, very good today. Very good. Way too good for their opponents. They led 24-2 at half-time. They've added another 3 tries in the second half. They storm into the final against Samoa. Full time, New Zealand 40, Tonga 14.
New Zealand too good on home soil. They progress through to the final where they will meet Samoa next week here in Sydney at CommBank Stadium. A complete performance from the Kiwis. We see these scenes here, obviously after the end of this fierce and powerful international game that brings out the best in both of these teams, but the Kiwis just too good.
Yeah, they were, Eloise. Really important for them. Stacey Jones, their coach, speaking before the game just about how important it was, taking their lessons out of that first game. They've had the week off. They got a chance to look at Tonga. They knew what they were going to expect. It was a physical and brutal start from the Tongan side. The scoreline doesn't reflect it, but in the opening, 10 minutes, it was a tough contest. Tonga were up for it physically after a disappointing loss to Samoa last week, but then errors really hurt themselves, put a lot of pressure on their defence. And in the end, the power of New Zealand, the fitness, the aggression and the dominance through the middle of the field just allowed Dylan Brown, who was superb again this afternoon, Keano Kenny to really play on the front foot, gave Kieran Foran time to execute their game plan. It was a stellar 80-minute performance from New Zealand, and they march themselves towards another rematch with Samoa at CommBank Stadium next week. Moments like this, though, Ronnie, Brown was superb.
Yeah, we spoke about Brown's strengths at the beginning of the game, his running game, and you saw that well and truly today. And obviously the spine, we spoke about the spine and the Kiwis, obviously against an inexperienced spine in Tonga. I think they really stood up, gelled together, and then the excellence and the execution on the back of that. You got guys like Brendan Nakora making plays, along with everyone else. So, got to give credit to our spine and what they were able to produce on top of a dominant forward pack.
Dimitri Varmunga, they're able to pick up a try for Tonga. That was when Aaron Clark was strangely sin-binned just before half-time. Then it was immediate because 24-8 at that point, the Tongan crowd, the song was in full rejoice, and they were elevated right back into the game. But then it was Chance to Kuksadu. Again, down that left-hand side of the field this afternoon, moved to the centre position. Along with Dylan Brown and Papali'i down that left-hand side, were absolutely dynamite this afternoon. A late try here. This was nice work from Iongi, the ball over the top to Daniel Tupou, who's such a prolific try scorer, but it was all said and done by then. New Zealand, an absolutely superb performance, and boy, you've got to tip your hat to whatever they did in the week off, and the way that their staff managed, and the players individually. This time of the year could really be easy to fall into a holiday mode a little bit, but having that week off through the middle of the championships can be difficult to manage. But boy, they remained focused and came and delivered this afternoon at home, and it was really important that they delivered at home with the amount of Tongan support that was there, just to reinforce whose home ground it actually is, and heading towards a World Cup and a packed final, a packed championship final. They're in good shape, New Zealand.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a scary thought to think of the form that they are at the moment, to continue with this momentum. We touched on Dylan Brown. His name was mentioned a couple of times there. What is it about Dylan Brown that's really working for his game at the moment and the form that he is in? Ronaldo, you touched on off there at the top about his maturity off the field as well. That's translating to his game.
Yeah, no, I know Mickey will talk about it as well. Like, clarity off the field is an important part of the game, and if you can get your life sorted outside of the game, it just produces on the field. So, no, I think being around him for that first week, seeing how calm he is in his head, and how much of a leader he's turned into within the group as well. And that only comes with the amount of times we've played together and how he's been around the team. He had a World Cup under his belt. He's played a couple of series already, so it only adds confidence, and obviously us building into next year's World Cup will be even better.
Tough start to the year for Dylan. I mean, so much speculation about his contract situation, and a lot of focus on the length and the size of the deal going to Newcastle. And you got to tip your hat to Parramatta a little bit, that they had to look after what was best for them moving forward, and that was that looking at the players that were in their roster. So I actually think the time out of the game for Dylan, or being left out of the side for a period, was a chance just to reset himself and catch his breath a little bit, because his back end of the season was terrific, and he's taken that into the Pacific Championships. He looks relaxed, he looks fit, and obviously playing with some of these world-class forwards that are giving him so much time and space. Eloise, he is one of the elite ball-running halves in the competition. And if you give Dylan Brown the room that he's had in the opening 2 games to do what he can do, and Dylan's got the confidence to play what's in front of him, as opposed to thinking and feeling like he's got to execute game plans and steer sides around. When Dylan plays with freedom, he is so good to watch, and he was best on ground again this afternoon. He really was.
How influential is Kieran Foran on Dylan Brown's game? The fact that you talk about playing alongside inspirational leaders and behind that forward back, but someone like Kieran Foran, the way that he's influenced Dylan Brown's game across this Pacific Championship campaign.
Yeah, the experience of Foz to put them in the right spots of the field and then allow that time to give to Dylan and bring out his running game is important. And I think for Foz, he understands his game really well. He's been around for a long time, so I think for him was communicating that with Dill, how he can get the ball in his hands and what we're going to do as a group, and putting in that 10-by-10 for Dill to come out and play against a tired, slow middle pack. So I think, Foz is awesome, and the impact that he's had for Dill is massive as well.
You cannot underestimate, you just can't underestimate a genuine halfback that can control a footy side. Coaches at times can fall into the, all the flashy stuff and look at all the sharp side steps and footwork and speed and athleticism. But look at Adam Reynolds this year. Just a genuine halfback that steered Brisbane around, unlocked Ezra Mann, unlocked Reece Walsh. You look at Nathan Cleary and what he's doing at the moment. People look at the Test series at the moment, the Ashes, and go, is Cleary having the impact that he's having like he normally does at Penrith? No, but he's unlocking. Cameron Munster's been man of the match in the early hours this morning. Reece Walsh got it last week. It's because Nathan Cleary just gets the side around and controls everything. Kieran Foran makes people around him better. And that's his role as an experienced half. He steers the side around, he allows his forward pack to do the damage, and then he assesses what's best for the footy team. And he unlocked Keano Kinney today, who has to stay at fullback. He has to stay at fullback. He just completely unlocked their attack, 40 points this afternoon, and he did more than enough to hold down that spot for next week. And what it's done for Dylan Brown. Boy, Dylan Brown at his absolute best playing outside a genuine 7. It's been so good to see Foran make himself available and play for New Zealand throughout this series, because, boy, has it made a difference to their spine.
So influential is Kieran Foran. Also to James Fisher-Harris. Let's head to Eden Park and hear from the man now.
You guys looked in control from the start. Did it feel like that out there?
It was a grind in the first 20 minutes. I think both teams sort of front-loaded with their forward packs just going after it, and got a few tries and stuff, so just kept the momentum going. So, but it was an even game, pretty much,
As you mentioned, that battle in the middle looked tough. What was key to making sure you guys were on top of it?
Well, you look at their forward pack, they got, actually their whole team, they got star power everywhere, so had to rely on our defense a bit and just work hard for each other. But it wasn't perfect, but the effort was there for us,
How important is it to keep this standard for Samoa next week?
We're just going to enjoy this moment, and we'll watch the review and stuff like that, and then we'll get on to next week tomorrow.
And almost 39,000 fans. How was it out there with all of these people cheering?
I just want to give a big shout out to the crowd. Thanks everyone for coming out. Ngā mihi nui tonu, tōna whānau, malo pito, and ofatu. Cheer.
Kia ora.
Absolutely no surprises that James Fisher-Harris rose to the occasion this afternoon. From the moment that they stepped out onto that field, the emotional haka off the top, he just had so much pride and he was locked in for this game.
Yeah, you could see it, couldn't you, Ronnie? From the moment they came together for the haka, he led that ferociously, as he always does. And, that inspirational leader that you spoke about, there's so much class in that forward pack, so much power and athleticism, but it's just the presence, isn't it, Fisher-Harris?
No, he just understands big games, and obviously this is a big game for New Zealand. And like I said, I spoke about his aura, his presence within the group, and you feel like that little brother and protected around guys like that. And like I said, no one will see the little things he's done. He's the third man into tackles, cleaning up all the rubbish around the ruck, and then just setting the dominance from the front. So I think he's real important to this team, and you can see this being building, so really happy for Skip.
You can see the difference. I spoke about what Foran's done for Dylan Brown, but boy, what Joe Tarpany and Fisher-Harris and Leota have done for Nafahu White, and like Xavier Willison as well, making his debut today. Like the bench performances boy, they were impressive this afternoon.
Yeah, they just didn't miss a beat. No,
Yeah.
And when they went off, like we spoke about before, the bench come on and set another tone. And when the starters come back on, they had to kind of reach that level again. So that just shows the quality of the forward pack that we have within New Zealand and in our system. And it's nice when you're on the outside back and you're running behind that. But yeah, really happy for them.
Nafahu White, we talk about coming off the bench and what he was able to do and the impact he had. Some of the best stats out there this afternoon. That's incredible.
It's funny, watching Nafahu White this season, I was thinking, well, just how does Stacey Jones not have him in the starting side? But who does he replace? Because you've got Fisher Harris, Leota, premiership players, absolutely elite, world class in their prime. Tough men who just lead with the New Zealand jersey they're just superb every time they're in it. Joe Tarpany, arguably the best middle forward in the game. So Nafahu White, unfortunately, just has to buy his time at the moment. But boy, what Ronnie said, they set the tone. Those three middles, those experienced middles set the tone, got the baseball bats out and went toe-to-toe with Jason Taumalolo and Malaki Fodawaker and Eli Katara and those guys. Then all of a sudden you think, well, they need to continue this now. They need to really put the foot on the pedal because Tonga started to look fatigued through the middle. Well, the young legs of Aaron Clark and Nafahu White and Willison went to another level. And then, as Ronnie said, when they're sitting on the sideline, like Tarpany and those blokes chomping to get back on, they know that there's a level that they've got to come back to continue on from what these young blokes have done. Nafahu White is one of the best forwards in the competition, in the world at the moment. He's absolutely mixing it with the best and has done consistently, and I thought he was brilliant this afternoon.
Absolute dominant display from New Zealand. Also to Nafahu White. Of course, they will meet Samoa next week in the final. It lines up as a mouth-watering clash, really.